The ultimatum. The massive holographic projection of High Imperator Zax Krill filled the night sky over every major city on Earth, his reptilian features contorted in a sneer of contempt. Billions of humans stood frozen, necks craned upward, as the alien ruler's booming voice echoed across the planet. Humans of Earth, Zax Krill began, his forked tongue flicking between razor-sharp teeth. Your pitiful species has been a thorn in the side of the galactic hegemony for far too long. Your constant expansion, your refusal to bow to our superior civilization, and your laughable attempts at diplomacy have tried our patience to its limit. In the United Earth Defense Command Center, buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Elena Vargas clenched her fists, her dark eyes never leaving the alien's sneering face. Around her, a circle of military and civilian leaders from every nation on the planet stood in tense silence. Zax Krill continued, "We have tolerated your existence out of mere amusement, watching your feeble attempts to join the galactic community. But now, the time for tolerance has ended. The hegemony demands your immediate and unconditional surrender." A collective gasp rippled through the command center. President Amelia Chen, her face ashen, turned to General Vargas. "They can't be serious," she whispered. Vargas shook her head grimly. "I'm afraid they are, Madam President. We've suspected this was coming for months." On the holo projection, Zax Krill's eyes gleamed with malicious glee. "You have one Earth rotation to lay down your arms and submit to hegemony rule. If you refuse, we will unleash the full might of our armada upon your pathetic world. Your cities will burn, your oceans will boil, and your species will be nothing more than a cautionary tale told to disobedient younglings across the galaxy." The alien ruler paused, his lipless mouth curling into what passed for a smile among his kind. "To demonstrate our magnanimity, we will allow you to send a single representative to our capital world of Zaxkoros. This fortunate individual will have the honor of personally delivering your surrender to me." With a final dismissive flick of his tail, Zax Krill's image vanished, leaving billions of humans staring at empty skies and grappling with the weight of his ultimatum. In the command center, chaos erupted. Shouted arguments and panicked speculation filled the air until General Vargas slammed her palm on the central holotable. "Enough," she roared, her voice cutting through the din. "We don't have time for this. Madam President, your orders." President Chen straightened her shoulders, her eyes hardening with resolve. "We fight," she said simply. "Humanity will not bow to tyranny. Not now, not ever." A murmur of agreement rippled through the room, but the Chinese ambassador, Li Wei, stepped forward, his face creased with worry. "With all due respect, Madam President, how can we possibly hope to stand against their technology? The hegemony controls half the galaxy." Vargas exchanged a knowing look with Dr. Samantha Reeves, head of Earth's Covert Advanced Weapons Division. The general cleared her throat. "Mr. Ambassador, I think it's time we showed you what humanity has been working on in secret for the past decade." With a nod from the president, Dr. Reeves activated the holotable. The 3D schematic of a sleek, predatory-looking spacecraft materialized above the table's surface. "Ladies and gentlemen," Reeves began, her voice brimming with barely contained excitement, "I give you the EDS Prometheus." Gasps of awe and disbelief filled the room as Reeves continued. "For years, we've been reverse engineering technology from downed hegemony scout ships. The Prometheus represents the pinnacle of human innovation combined with alien tech. She's faster, more maneuverable, and more heavily armed than anything the hegemony has." General Vargas stepped forward. "We've also developed energy shielding capable of withstanding their plasma weapons and our own version of their FTL drives. But our greatest advantage is one the hegemony can't even conceive of: the human spirit." The room fell silent as Vargas's words sank in. President Chen nodded slowly, a spark of hope igniting in her eyes. "How many of these ships do we have?" "A fleet of 50, Madam President," Vargas replied, "with another 100 nearing completion in our lunar shipyards." Ambassador Li's eyes widened. How did you keep this secret? Vargas allowed herself a small smile. It's amazing what humanity can accomplish when we work together, Ambassador. Every nation, every scientist, every engineer, we've all been part of this project, whether they knew it or not. President Chen straightened, her decision made. General Vargas, you have full authority to implement our defense plans. Dr. Reeves, I want every scrap of hegemony tech analyzed for weaknesses. Ambassador Lai, I need you to coordinate with the UN. We must present a united front. As the leaders dispersed to their tasks, Chen turned to Vargas. General, about that representative the hegemony requested. Vargas nodded grimly. I have just the person in mind, Madam President. Someone who can buy us the time we need to prepare. 12 hours later, Colonel Jake Martinez stood before a shimmering portal on the grounds of the old Kennedy Space Center, adjusting the collar of his dress uniform. A small crowd of military and civilian officials watched as he prepared to step through the hegemony's matter transmitter to Zaxkoros. General Vargas approached, her face a mask of professional calm. Remember your mission, Colonel. Stall them, gather intel, and above all, stay alive until we can extract you. Martinez nodded, his jaw set with determination. Don't worry, General. I'll give those overgrown lizards a diplomacy lesson they won't forget. As Martinez stepped towards the portal, President Chen's voice came through on a private channel in his earpiece. Good luck, Colonel. The hopes of humanity go with you. With a deep breath, Martinez stepped through the shimmering veil. In a blinding flash of light and a moment of disorientation, he found himself standing in an enormous obsidian-walled chamber. Dozens of alien species lined the walls, their eyes fixed on the lone human in their midst. At the far end of the chamber, seated on a throne that seemed to be made of living, writhing metal, sat High Imperator Zax Krill. His yellow eyes narrowed as he regarded Martinez. So, the alien ruler hissed, the humans send a single soldier to deliver their surrender. How fitting. Martinez straightened to his full height, locking eyes with Zax Krill. High Imperator, he began, his voice steady and clear. I come before you not with a message of surrender, but with a warning. A ripple of surprise ran through the assembled aliens. Zax Krill leaned forward, his tail lashing in agitation. A warning? You dare threaten the hegemony? Not a threat, Martinez replied calmly. An opportunity. An opportunity for peace, for cooperation, for a future where humans and the hegemony can coexist as equals. Zax Krill's laughter, a harsh, grating sound, filled the chamber. Equals. Your species is barely out of its cradle. What could you possibly offer us? Martinez allowed himself a small smile. Innovation. Adaptability. A perspective the hegemony has long forgotten. We may be young, but we've achieved in centuries what took your species millennia. The High Imperator's amusement faded, replaced by a flicker of unease. Pretty words, human. But words will not save your world from our Armada. Perhaps not, Martinez conceded. But consider this. A war with Earth will cost you dearly. We will not go quietly into the night. We will fight with everything we have, and we will surprise you. The question you must ask yourself, High Imperator, is whether the price of this war is one the hegemony is willing to pay. For a long moment, silence reigned in the chamber. Zax Krill's eyes bored into Martinez, searching for any sign of deception or weakness. Finding none, the alien ruler slowly leaned back on his throne. You have courage, human, Zax Krill said at last, but courage alone will not save you. You have one more rotation to reconsider your foolish defiance. When next we meet, it will be on the battlefield. As Martinez was led away by guards, he allowed himself a grim smile. He had bought Earth precious time. Now it was up to humanity to make the most of it. Back on Earth, as the portal closed behind Martinez, General Vargas turned to her assembled staff. You heard the colonel, she barked. We have 24 hours to prepare for the fight of our lives. Let's make them count. As humanity girded itself for war, A sense of unity and purpose swept across the globe. In labs, factories, and military bases around the world, men and women worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of science and strategy. The stage was set. Humanity stood on the brink of its greatest challenge, ready to prove to the galaxy that they were a force to be reckoned with. The war for Earth's future was about to begin, and the outcome would reshape the stars themselves. Preparing for battle. The next 24 hours saw a flurry of activity across the globe unlike anything in human history. As news of the hegemony's ultimatum spread, panic gave way to a steely determination that united humanity in ways previously thought impossible. In the sprawling underground complex of the United Earth Defense Command, General Elena Vargas stood before a holographic display of the solar system. Red dots representing the approaching hegemony fleet blinked ominously at the edge of the projection. Status report, Vargas barked, her eyes never leaving the display. Colonel Sarah Chen, head of Earth's orbital defense grid, stepped forward. The Luna shipyards have accelerated production, General. We've managed to bring another 25 Prometheus-class ships online in the last 18 hours. Vargas nodded, a grim smile playing at the corners of her mouth. The hegemony's in for one hell of a surprise. What about our ground defenses? This time, it was Major Dmitry Volkov who answered, his thick Russian accent laced with pride. The plasma shield generators are at 95% capacity, Comrade General. We can protect most major cities and military installations from orbital bombardment. Excellent, Vargas replied. And Project Honeycomb? Dr. Samantha Reeves cleared her throat, pushing her glasses up the bridge of her nose. The nanoswarm is ready, General. Once deployed, it will target hegemony tech with extreme prejudice. Their ships, weapons, even their armor, all of it will be vulnerable. A murmur of excitement rippled through the command center. Project Honeycomb had been humanity's most closely guarded secret, a swarm of self-replicating nanobots designed to disassemble alien technology at the molecular level. Vargas allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before turning to the final member of her core team. Dr. Okoye, what's the status of our ace in the hole? Dr. Adebayo Okoye, a brilliant Nigerian physicist, stepped forward. His usual jovial demeanor was replaced by an intensity that matched the gravity of the situation. The quantum entanglement device is operational, General. We can collapse their wormholes at will, cutting off their supply lines and reinforcements. A hush fell over the room as the implications sank in. With this device, humanity could isolate and defeat the hegemony forces piecemeal, negating their numerical advantage. Vargas surveyed her team, feeling the surge of pride. Outstanding work, all of you. Humanity stands ready. Now let's bring Colonel Martinez home. Thousands of miles away, in the cavernous throne room of High Imperator Zax Krill, Colonel Jake Martinez stood defiantly before the assembled might of the hegemony's war council. He had spent the last day in a battle of wits and words, stalling for time while gleaning every scrap of intelligence he could. Zax Krill's patience had finally run out. The massive alien ruler loomed over Martinez, his scales shimmering with barely contained rage. Your time is up, human. Will your species submit to the inevitable, or will you force us to reduce your world to ash? Martinez met the alien's gaze unflinchingly. High Imperator, I extend one final offer of peace. Withdraw your forces, and we can forge a new era of cooperation between our peoples. A ripple of laughter echoed through the chamber, but Martinez noticed a few of the alien delegates shifting uncomfortably. His words had struck a chord with some, at least. Zax Krill's tail lashed in agitation. Enough. Your pathetic attempts at diplomacy end now. Guards, take this human to the observation deck. Let him witness the opening salvo of his world's destruction. As rough hands seized Martinez, a familiar voice crackled to life in his hidden earpiece. Hang tight, Colonel. Cavalry's coming. A ghost of a smile played across Martinez's lips as he was dragged away. Earth was ready. On the bridge of the EDS Prometheus, Captain Yuki Tanaka gripped the arms of her command chair, her eyes fixed on the swirling vortex of the wormhole before them. "All hands, battle stations," she ordered, her voice calm despite the weight of humanity's future resting on her shoulders. The sleek warship surged forward, leading a fleet of 75 of humanity's finest vessels. As they emerged from the wormhole in high orbit around Zaxkoros, alarms blared across the hegemony capital. "Element of surprise achieved, Captain," reported Lieutenant Commander Ahmed Rashid from the tactical station. "Enemy ships are scrambling, but they're in disarray." Tanaka allowed herself a tight smile. "Excellent. Deploy the nanoswarm and target their orbital defenses. Let's clear a path for our ground teams." Across the hegemony fleet, confusion turned to panic as their supposedly invincible ships began to disintegrate around them. The nanoswarm worked with terrifying efficiency, reducing advanced alien technology to useless dust in a matter of minutes. On the observation deck of the Imperial Palace, Colonel Martinez watched in awe as humanity's fleet engaged the enemy. A massive hegemony dreadnought, easily 10 times the size of the Prometheus, fired its main cannon at Earth's flagship. Martinez's heart leaped to his throat, but the energy blast splashed harmlessly against the Prometheus's shields. The human warship returned fire, its advanced weaponry tearing through the dreadnought's hull like tissue paper. In moments, the massive alien vessel split in two, secondary explosions rippling along its length. Beside Martinez, High Imperator Zax Krill's eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible," he hissed. "How can your primitive species possess such technology?" Martinez turned to the alien ruler, a fierce pride burning in his chest. "You underestimated us, Imperator. Humanity doesn't just adapt. We evolve. We take what we learn and forge it into something greater. Your mistake was thinking we were merely copying your tech. The truth is, we've surpassed it." As if to punctuate his words, a brilliant flash lit up the sky. The quantum entanglement device had activated, collapsing the wormhole that connected Zaxkoros to the rest of the hegemony. In one stroke, the alien capital was cut off from reinforcements and supplies. Zax Krill's composure finally cracked. "What have you done?" he roared, rounding on Martinez with murder in his eyes. Before the alien could strike, the observation deck rocked with a massive explosion. Through the swirling smoke, a team of human special forces materialized, their advanced stealth suits shimmering as they deactivated. "Colonel Martinez," the lead operative called out. "Sorry, we're late to the party. Ready to go home?" Martinez grinned, but his eyes never left Zax Krill. "Not quite yet, Lieutenant. We have some unfinished business here." Back on Earth, in cities around the globe, humanity watched the battle unfold on massive holographic displays. Years of secrecy melted away as governments revealed the full extent of Earth's technological leap. In New York's Times Square, crowds cheered as human ships outmaneuvered and outgunned the hegemony fleet. In Beijing's Tiananmen Square, people hugged and wept as news came in of minimal Earth casualties. In Lagos, Cairo, and Sao Paulo, impromptu street parties erupted as humanity realized they were not just holding their own, they were winning. In orbit around Earth, the remaining hegemony ships found themselves caught between the hammer of Earth's returning fleet and the anvil of the orbital defense grid. Plasma beams lanced out from ground-based emitters, punching through alien hulls with ease. Admiral Koda of the hegemony's 3rd Expeditionary Force watched in horror as his ships were systematically dismantled. "All vessels, retreat," he bellowed over the comm. "Make for the wormhole." But as his flagship limped towards their escape route, the fabric of space-time shimmered and collapsed. The wormhole winked out of existence, trapping the alien fleet in Earth's solar system. On the bridge of the Prometheus, now in high Earth orbit, Captain Tanaka allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. "Admiral Koda," she broadcast on all frequencies, "your fleet is defeated, your supply lines are cut, and your leadership is in our custody. Surrender now, and we will show mercy." For a long moment, silence reigned across the battlefield. Then, one by one, Hegemony ships began powering down their weapons. The invasion was over almost before it had begun. As the scope of humanity's victory became clear, attention turned back to Zaxkoros. General Vargas's voice crackled over the comm. "Captain Tanaka, what's the status of the extraction team?" Tanaka checked her displays, a smile tugging at her lips. "Mission accomplished, General. Colonel Martinez is secure, and they've got a little surprise for us." On Zaxkoros, Colonel Martinez stood in the Imperial Palace's Grand Hall, surrounded by Earth's special forces and a thoroughly subdued group of hegemony officials. Before him, bound in energy restraints, knelt High Imperator Zax Krill. "You've lost, Imperator," Martine said, his voice firm but not unkind. "Your fleet is defeated, your capital is cut off, and your empire is crumbling as we speak. But this doesn't have to be the end." Zax Krill looked up, confusion replacing the hatred in his eyes. "What do you mean, human? Will you not destroy us as we sought to destroy you?" Martinez shook his head. "That's not our way, Imperator. Yes, you'll face consequences for your actions, but humanity doesn't seek dominion over others. We want to build a galaxy where all species can coexist, where we can learn from each other and grow together." He knelt down, meeting the alien ruler's gaze. "Your people have much to offer, Zax Krill. Centuries of knowledge, art, and culture that we'd be fools to erase. What we're offering is a chance at redemption, for you, and for the hegemony." For a long moment, the former High Imperator said nothing. Then, slowly, he bowed his head. "Perhaps," he said softly, "we are the ones who have much to learn from you, humans." As Martinez and his team prepared to transport their prisoner back to Earth, he couldn't help but feel a sense of hope for the future. Humanity had not just survived its trial by fire. It had emerged stronger, more united, and ready to take its place among the stars. The war that was supposed to end humanity had instead ushered in a new era of peace and cooperation. As news of the victory spread across the galaxy, other species under hegemony rule began to rise up, inspired by Earth's example. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the forefront of that change. The stars, once a distant dream, were now within reach. And as Colonel Martinez looked out at the alien sky, he knew that this was just the beginning of humanity's greatest adventure, a new galactic order. 6 months after the failed hegemony invasion, Earth had become the center of a rapidly changing galaxy. The planet buzzed with activity as diplomats, scientists, and leaders from hundreds of alien species flocked to the blue world, eager to establish relations with the species that had brought down the mighty hegemony. In the newly constructed Galactic Cooperation Center in Geneva, Colonel Jake Martinez, now Ambassador Martinez, straightened his tie as he prepared to address the first-ever Galactic Council meeting. The circular chamber was filled with representatives from over 50 species, their diverse forms a testament to the vastness and variety of life in the universe. As Martinez took the podium, his eyes swept over the assembled delegates. He saw the towering crystalline forms of the Quartz Collective, the tentacled Zinthar, and even a few hegemony representatives, including the former High Imperator Zax Krill, who now served as a liaison between his people and the new galactic community. "Distinguished delegates," Martinez began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's advanced acoustics. "6 months ago, many of us were enemies. Today we gather as partners, united in our desire for a peaceful and prosperous galaxy." A murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber. Martinez continued, "The fall of the hegemony has created a power vacuum, one that we must fill not with another empire, but with a cooperative of free worlds. Earth proposes the formation of the Galactic Alliance, a body where all species have an equal voice, and where disputes are settled through dialogue, not warfare." As Martinez outlined the structure of the proposed alliance, he could see the mix of hope and skepticism on the faces of the delegates. The Zinthar representative, her tentacles writhing with excitement, was the first to speak up. "Ambassador Martinez," she burbled through her translator, While we applaud Earth's vision, how can we be sure that humans won't simply replace the hegemony as the galaxy's dominant power? Your technology clearly surpasses that of many species here. Martinez nodded, having anticipated this concern. A fair question, Delegate Zinka. Earth has no desire for galactic domination. In fact, we propose that the location of the Galactic Alliance headquarters rotate among member worlds, and that key decisions require a supermajority vote. Additionally, we will be sharing much of our technology with Alliance members to ensure a level playing field. This announcement caused a stir among the delegates. The idea of accessing Earth's advanced tech was enticing, to say the least. Even Zax Krill looked impressed, his scaled brow ridge rising in surprise. As the session continued, more questions were raised and addressed. The Quartz Collective was concerned about cultural preservation, the methane-breathing Valaxians worried about environmental accommodations, and the silicon-based silicoids questioned the biological bias in proposed trade regulations. Through it all, Martinez and his team of human diplomats worked tirelessly to address concerns, propose compromises, and build consensus. By the end of the week-long conference, the foundation for the Galactic Alliance had been laid, with most species present agreeing to join. As the delegates filed out of the chamber after the final session, Martinez felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned to find Zax Krill standing behind him, the former High Imperator's posture one of humility, rather than the arrogance he had displayed during their first meeting. "Ambassador," Zax Krill said, his voice low, "I owe you and your species an apology. We gravely misjudged humanity, and in doing so, nearly destroyed something remarkable." Martinez smiled, extending his hand in the human gesture of friendship. After a moment's hesitation, Zax Krill grasped it with his clawed hand. "The past is behind us, Zax Krill," Martinez said. "What matters now is how we shape the future." As news of the Galactic Alliance's formation spread across Earth, celebrations erupted in cities around the globe. Humanity, once confined to a single world, now stood at the center of a new galactic community. But with this new role came new challenges. In the depths of the lunar shipyards, Dr. Samantha Reeves led a team of human and alien scientists in the development of new technologies. The exchange of knowledge between species had led to breakthroughs that would have been impossible just months before. The integration of Quartz collective photonics with our quantum computing has increased processing speeds by a factor of 1,000, Reeves explained to a visiting group of dignitaries. And the Zinfar's bioengineering expertise has revolutionized our medical technology. We're on the verge of curing diseases that have plagued humanity for millennia. But not all of Earth's advancements were being shared freely. In a secure facility beneath the Mariana Trench, General Elena Vargas oversaw the continued development of defensive technologies. While Earth was committed to peace, the near disaster of the hegemony invasion had taught humanity the value of maintaining a strong defensive capability. The nanoswarm and quantum entanglement device remain classified, Vargas informed President Chen during a secure briefing. We've also begun development of a new planetary shield system capable of protecting entire worlds from orbital bombardment. President Chen nodded gravely. "Let's hope we never need to use these technologies, General. But I agree, we must be prepared for any eventuality." As Earth worked to balance openness with security, other challenges arose. The influx of alien species to Earth had led to cultural clashes and misunderstandings. In New York City, a Valaxian cultural center had to be hastily redesigned when it was discovered that the methane atmosphere inside was leaking, causing dizziness in human passersby. In Beijing, a diplomatic incident nearly occurred when a silicoid delegate accidentally interfered with the city's power grid due to its silicon-based biology interacting unexpectedly with Earth technology. And in Lagos, a group of human protesters demanded the closure of a Zinfar restaurant, claiming that the sight of writhing tentacles preparing food was putting them off their appetites. To address these issues, the United Earth government established the Department of Sinocultural Affairs, tasking it with promoting understanding and harmony between humans and their new galactic neighbors. Educational programs were launched, cultural exchange initiatives were implemented, and a comprehensive guide titled, "So You've Met an Alien: A Human's Guide to Galactic Etiquette" became a bestseller overnight. Meanwhile, out in the galaxy, the ripple effects of the hegemony's fall continued to be felt. Freed from oppression, many species were experiencing growing pains as they adjusted to self-governance. Earth found itself in the position of mediator, helping to resolve conflicts and establish new governmental systems on worlds that had known only hegemony rule for generations. On the former hegemony throne world of Zax Koros, now renamed New Harmony, a constitutional convention was underway. Ambassador Martinez, along with a team of human and alien advisors, worked with local leaders to craft a system of government that balanced the needs of the planet's various species. The key, Martinez explained to the assembled Zax Korosan delegates, is to create a system flexible enough to accommodate your world's diversity, yet strong enough to maintain stability. You're not just creating a government, you're laying the foundation for your world's future. As the convention progressed, Martinez couldn't help but reflect on how far things had come. Just months ago, this world had been the seat of an empire bent on Earth's destruction. Now, it was taking its first steps towards democracy, with humanity serving as a guide and ally. But not all former hegemony worlds were as receptive to change. On the industrial planet of Orcs Prime, a faction of hardline hegemony loyalists had seized control, declaring their intention to rebuild the empire and put the upstart humans in their place. In orbit above Orcs Prime, Captain Yuki Tanaka stood on the bridge of the EDS Prometheus, now the flagship of the Galactic Alliance's peacekeeping force. A fleet of ships from a dozen different species waited for her command, a testament to the new spirit of cooperation that Earth had fostered. "All ships, maintain position," Tanaka ordered. "We're here to contain the situation and prevent harm to civilians, not to start another war." For 3 tense days, the Allied fleet held their position, intercepting loyalist ships that attempted to leave the system while working to establish communication with moderate factions on the surface. Finally, a breakthrough came when a group of Korugian workers, inspired by stories of Earth's own labor movements, launched a general strike that paralyzed the loyalist government. As the crisis on Orcs Prime was resolved peacefully, news arrived from the far reaches of the galaxy. A probe launched by the Quartz Collective had detected signs of a massive, space-borne life-form in a distant nebula. The discovery sparked excitement across the scientific community and highlighted the need for a coordinated galactic exploration effort. In response, Earth proposed the formation of the Galactic Exploration Corps, a multi-species organization dedicated to pushing the boundaries of known space. The initiative was met with enthusiasm, and soon ships crewed by diverse teams of explorers were venturing into the cosmic unknown. 1 year to the day after the hegemony's failed invasion, humanity gathered to reflect on how much had changed. In every major city on Earth, holographic displays showed scenes from across the galaxy. The bustling spaceports of Mars, now a major hub for interstellar trade. The gleaming spires of the new Galactic Alliance headquarters on the neutral world of Harmony. The historic signing of the Galactic Constitution, with representatives from over 100 worlds present. As night fell over New York City, Ambassador Jake Martinez stood atop the United Nations building, gazing up at the stars. Beside him, Zax Krill, General Vargas, and Dr. Reeves stood in comfortable silence, each lost in their own thoughts. "You know," Martinez said at last, "a part of me still can't believe how much has changed. A year ago, we were just hoping to survive. Now, we're helping to guide the future of the galaxy." Zax Krill nodded, his eyes reflecting the starlight. "Your species continues to amaze me, Jake. You've taken an opportunity that many would have used for domination, and instead used it to foster unity and progress." "That's the thing about humans," Vargas chimed in, a rare smile on her face. "We're at our best when we're working together, pushing boundaries, exploring the unknown. Dr. Reeves laughed softly. And now we have an entire galaxy to explore, with new friends to explore it with. The scientific possibilities alone are staggering. As they talked, a bright light streaked across the sky. A ship entering Earth's atmosphere. Once, such a sight might have caused panic. Now, it was a common occurrence, a reminder of Earth's new place in the galactic community. Martinez watched the ship's descent, feeling a profound sense of pride and hope. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The road ahead would not be easy. There would be new challenges, new threats, new wonders to contend with, but Earth and its people were ready. As the first stars began to twinkle in the darkening sky, Martinez made a silent promise to himself and to the galaxy at large. Humanity would continue to strive, to learn, to grow. They would face the future not with fear, but with hope and determination. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The era of galactic cooperation had begun. And humanity, once a small voice in a vast, uncaring universe, now stood ready to help write the next chapter in the grand story of cosmic civilization. Cosmic Horizons. 5 years had passed since the formation of the Galactic Alliance, and humanity's influence continued to grow across the stars. The Earth-led coalition had brought stability to much of the former hegemony space, but new challenges loomed on the cosmic horizon. On the bridge of the EDS Horizon, the most advanced explorer vessel in the Galactic Exploration Corps, Captain Aria Zhang watched as her diverse crew prepared for their most ambitious mission yet. The ship, a marvel of multi-species engineering, housed a crew of 25 beings from a dozen different worlds. "Status report," Zhang called out, her eyes fixed on the swirling anomaly that filled the view screen. Lieutenant Korax, a blue-skinned Andorian, responded from the science station. "The trans-dimensional rift is stable, Captain. Energy readings are off the charts, but consistent with our simulations." Zhang nodded, a mixture of excitement and apprehension coursing through her. The rift before them represented the next great leap in space exploration, a possible gateway to another galaxy. "All hands," Zhang announced, her voice carrying throughout the ship. "This is the moment we've been preparing for. In a few minutes, we'll attempt the first intergalactic jump in known history. Whatever lies on the other side, we face it together." As the horizon approached the rift, Zhang couldn't help but marvel at how far humanity had come. Just a few years ago, faster-than-light travel had been a dream. Now they stood on the brink of crossing the vast gulf between galaxies. The ship shuddered as it entered the rift, reality itself seeming to twist and bend around them. For a heart-stopping moment, all systems went dark. Then, with a flash of blinding light, they emerged. "Report," Zhang called out as soon as she could see again. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a star field unlike anything they had ever seen. Strange, purple-hued nebulae twisted through space, and in the distance, the unmistakable spiral arm of an alien galaxy stretched across the cosmos. Cheers erupted across the bridge as the reality of their achievement sank in. Humanity and its allies had just become the first known intergalactic travelers in history. But their celebration was short-lived. As they began to survey their surroundings, a massive shape loomed into view, a structure that dwarfed anything they had ever encountered. "My God," whispered Dr. Ilara Voss, the ship's xenoanthropologist. "That's not natural. We're looking at a construct bigger than a solar system." Before they could investigate further, a surge of energy engulfed the horizon. Ship systems began to fail as an overwhelming force pulled them towards the colossal structure. "All hands, brace for impact," Zhang shouted, gripping her chair as the horizon was inexorably drawn into the heart of the alien megastructure. Back on Earth, in the depths of the Galactic Alliance headquarters, alarms blared as the horizon's distress signal reached across the intergalactic void. Ambassador Jake Martinez, now serving as Earth's representative to the Alliance Council, rushed into the crisis center. "What do we know?" he demanded, joining General Elena Vargas, and Dr. Samantha Reeves at the central holodisplay. Reeves shook her head, her face pale. Not much. We received a burst transmission just as they entered the rift. Then, nothing. They're effectively in another galaxy, Jake. We have no way to reach them. Martinez's mind raced. The Horizon's mission had been controversial from the start. Many Alliance members had argued that humanity was pushing too far too fast. Now it seemed their fears had been justified. We need options, Martins said, his voice firm. I don't care if we have to invent new laws of physics. We are not abandoning our people. As Earth's finest minds grappled with the problem of intergalactic rescue, tensions within the Alliance began to rise. Some species saw the Horizon's disappearance as proof that humanity was recklessly endangering galactic stability. Others viewed it as an opportunity to assert their own influence in humanity's potential absence. On the former hegemony world of New Harmony, now a thriving center of multi-species cooperation, Zax Krill watched the unfolding crisis with growing concern. The former High Imperator had become one of humanity's strongest allies, working tirelessly to reform his people's militaristic culture. We cannot allow fear and suspicion to undo all we have built, Zax Krill addressed an emergency session of the Planetary Council. Humanity has shown us a better way. Now it is our turn to stand by them in their hour of need. Across the galaxy, similar debates rage. The disappearance of the Horizon had become more than just a rescue mission. It was a test of the very ideals that held the Alliance together. Meanwhile, light years beyond the edge of the Milky Way, the crew of the Horizon found themselves in a situation beyond their wildest imaginations. As they regained consciousness, Captain Zhang and her crew discovered they were no longer aboard their ship. Instead, they stood in a vast chamber that seemed to stretch endlessly in all directions. The walls, floor, and ceiling pulsed with an otherworldly energy, and strange, geometric patterns shifted and flowed around them. Is everyone all right? Zhang called out, doing a quick head count of her crew. To her relief, all 25 were present and seemingly unharmed. Before anyone could respond, a voice echoed through the chamber, not heard, but felt, resonating in their very minds. We LCOMM, travelers, we AAVAWAITE your ARIVL for eons. The crew huddled together, a mix of fear and awe on their faces as a form began to coalesce before them. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, a being of pure energy, constantly shifting and changing, yet somehow maintaining a vaguely humanoid shape. Dr. Voss stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. What are you? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. The being's form rippled, and when it spoke again, its mental voice was tinged with what could only be described as amusement. We are architects. We AKVUWATCHED your JLXOist since it is Buarte. Guiding it is evolution from AFR. You, Sheldurian of Earth, are TKEFIRist to reach US in Q1 millennia. Captain Zhang found her voice. You've been watching us. Why? And why bring us here now? The architect's form pulsed with colors beyond human perception. Your species HA's shown remarkable huot entail. In a NEREYEVLINK of cosmic time, UAAV from PLANEOUND to intergalactic travelers. But now, UFACHC choice 1. They too will DTK or Hermione not just your FAT, but TK8 of all life in your galaxy. As the architect spoke, the chamber around them transformed. Suddenly, the crew of the Horizon found themselves watching scenes from Earth's history. From the first human ancestors to walk upright, through wars and triumphs, to their recent ascension to the galactic stage. You stand at HCROSSOROADs, the architect continued. Your technology advances at an exponential rate. Soon, you will have the power to reshape reality we itself. But with this power comes great danger. The scenes shifted, showing potential futures. In one, Earth led a golden age of peace and discovery across the galaxies. In another, a tyrannical human empire crushed all opposition, enslaving countless species. And in a third, a catastrophic war reduced the Milky Way to ash, leaving only void where once there had been life. The choice is yours, the architect concluded. We cannot interfere directly, but we can offer guidance. Will you accept our wisdom and the responsibility that comes with it? Captain Zhang looked at her crew, seeing the weight of this moment reflected in their eyes. They had come seeking discovery, but now found themselves tasked with a decision that would shape the destiny of their entire galaxy. We need to confer, Zhang said to the architect. This isn't a decision I can make alone. The being's form shimmered in what might have been a nod. Of course, but BAWAR, time flows different to lie here. While you deliberate, the eras may pass in your home galaxy. Choose wisely, but do not DDLA over long. As the crew of the Horizon grappled with their monumental choice, back in the Milky Way, the situation grew increasingly tense. 10 years had passed since the ship's disappearance, and the galaxy had changed dramatically. Earth, driven by the need to rescue their lost explorers, had made unprecedented leaps in technology. The quest to bridge intergalactic distances had led to breakthroughs in energy production, faster than light travel, and even the manipulation of space-time itself. But these advancements came at a cost. Some Alliance members, particularly those who had once been part of the hegemony, grew wary of Earth's increasing power. Whispers of human dominance began to circulate, and old fears of subjugation resurfaced. Ambassador Martinez, his hair now streaked with gray, addressed an emergency session of the Alliance Council. I understand your concerns, he said, his voice carrying the weight of years of diplomacy. But I assure you, Earth's goals remain unchanged. We seek only to bring our people home and to share what we learn with all Alliance members. But even as Martinez spoke, news arrived that threatened to shatter the fragile peace. A radical faction, composed of former hegemony hardliners and those fearful of human influence, had launched a series of attacks on Earth colonies and research stations. General Vargas, now the Supreme Commander of Alliance Defense Forces, faced a difficult decision. The technology Earth had developed in its rescue efforts could easily be turned to military purposes. With it, they could crush the rebellion in days. But doing so would only confirm the fears of those who saw humanity as a threat. As the Alliance teetered on the brink of civil war, a signal was detected, faint but unmistakable. The Horizon was returning. In a flash of light that outshone suns, the explorer ship reappeared in Earth orbit, but it was not alone. Accompanying it was a fleet of vessels unlike anything ever seen, ships of pure energy, each the size of a small moon. As the world watched in awe, Captain Zhang's voice echoed across every communication channel in the galaxy. People of the Alliance, we have returned, and we bring with us knowledge that will change everything. The architects have shown us a vision of what we can become, not conquerors, not tyrants, but shepherds of life across the cosmos. The architect ships took up positions around Earth, their presence a silent testament to the monumental changes that were to come. As Zhang and her crew were reunited with their families, older now, but overjoyed, the weight of their experience showed clearly on their faces. They had seen wonders beyond imagination, glimpsed potentials both terrifying and awe-inspiring. Now, they faced the daunting task of guiding humanity and the entire Alliance into a new era of cosmic citizenship. As news of the Horizon's return spread, Conflicts across the galaxy ground to a halt. The presence of the architects, these unfathomable beings from beyond the galactic veil, put all other concerns into perspective. Humanity stood at the threshold of a new chapter in its history. The lessons learned from the architects would reshape their understanding of the universe and their place in it. But the greatest challenges and the greatest adventures still lay ahead. The cosmos, vast and mysterious, beckoned, and humanity, along with its allies, prepared to take its next steps into a future bright with promise and fraught with peril. The journey that had begun with a simple act of defiance against the hegemony had led them to the very frontiers of existence itself. As the sun set on this momentous day, Ambassador Martinez stood with Captain Zhang, watching the architect ships shimmer in Earth's orbit. "So," he said softly, "what happens now?" Zhang smiled, her eyes reflecting the starlight. Now we really start exploring." Cosmic shepherds. The years following the return of the Horizon and the arrival of the architects were a time of unprecedented change and growth for humanity and the entire Galactic Alliance. The knowledge brought back by Captain Zhang and her crew reshaped every facet of society, from technology and science to philosophy and spirituality. In the gleaming spires of New Geneva, the expanded headquarters of the Galactic Alliance, Ambassador Jake Martinez stood before the assembled representatives of over 1,000 species. His hair had turned completely silver, but his eyes still burned with the same passion that had driven him throughout his career. "Fellow sentients," Martinez began, his voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. "Today marks the 10th anniversary of the Horizon's return and our introduction to the architects. In that time, we have made strides that our ancestors could scarcely have dreamed of. But our journey is far from over." The holographic displays around the chamber flickered to life, showing images of the Alliance's achievements. Massive Dyson swarms harnessing the power of entire stars, planet-sized terraforming engines transforming barren worlds into gardens, and ships capable of crossing intergalactic distances in the blink of an eye. With the guidance of the architects, Martinez continued, "We have learned to wield energies once thought to be the stuff of legend. We have peered into the very fabric of reality and glimpsed the underlying structure of the cosmos. But with this power comes an enormous responsibility." The image is shifted, showing the vastness of the universe, countless galaxies, each home to billions of stars and untold potential for life. The architects have shown us that we are not alone in the grand tapestry of existence. There are other galaxies, other alliances of sentient beings, all grappling with the same questions and challenges we face. And there are younger species, just beginning to reach for the stars, who will look to us for guidance and protection. A murmur ran through the assembled delegates. The idea that their alliance, once confined to a single galaxy, now had a role to play on a truly cosmic scale was both exhilarating and terrifying. "That is why," Martinez said, his voice swelling with conviction, "I propose the formation of the Cosmic Shepherds Initiative. Our mission will be to explore, to protect, and to guide. We will seek out young civilizations, shielding them from threats they cannot yet comprehend while allowing them the freedom to grow and develop on their own terms." As Martinez outlined the details of the initiative, the chamber buzzed with excitement. The Cosmic Shepherds would be a multi-species effort, combining the unique strengths and perspectives of all Alliance members. They would operate on a scale previously unimaginable, with the power to nurture life across entire galactic superclusters. After the session, Martinez found himself approached by an unlikely pair. Zax Krill, the former High Imperator of the Hegemony, and Dr. Samantha Reeves, now the head of the Alliance's Science Division. "A bold proposal, old friend," Zax Krill rumbled, his scaled face creased in what passed for a smile among his species. "From would-be conquerors to guardians of the cosmos. Who would have thought?" Martinez chuckled, clasping the alien's clawed hand warmly. "Life has a way of surprising us, doesn't it? But I can think of no one better to help lead this initiative. Your experience, both in war and in peace will be invaluable. Dr. Reeves, her once dark hair now streaked with gray, nodded in agreement. The scientific challenges alone are staggering. We're talking about monitoring and potentially influencing the development of entire galaxies. The ethical considerations are equally daunting, which is why we'll need the best minds from every species working together, Martins replied. This isn't just about humanity anymore. It's about all of us, shaping the future of life itself. As the three discussed the intricacies of the Cosmic Shepherds Initiative, news arrived that would put their ambitious plans to the test sooner than anyone had anticipated. Captain Arya Jung, now Admiral Jung of the Intergalactic Exploration Fleet, appeared as a hologram in Martinez's office. Her face was grave as she delivered her report. Ambassador, we've detected a massive energy surge in a neighboring galaxy cluster. It bears all the hallmarks of an artificial construct, similar to the Architect's technology, but different, possibly hostile. Martinez felt a chill run down his spine. Hostile? What makes you say that? Zhang's hologram flickered as she pulled up a series of complex energy readings. The output is off the charts. Ambassador, whatever this thing is, it's capable of restructuring space-time on a galactic scale, and it's heading towards a cluster of young, life-bearing worlds. The implications were clear. If this unknown force reached those developing planets, entire civilizations could be wiped out before they had a chance to reach for the stars. Martinez turned to Zach Skrill and Reeves, seeing the same determination in their eyes that he felt. Well, he said, a grim smile playing at the corners of his mouth, it looks like the Cosmic Shepherds are about to get their first test. In the following days, the Alliance mobilized on a scale never before seen. Ships from 100 worlds converged, forming a fleet that stretched across light years. At its heart was the Horizon Aya, a vessel that dwarfed its predecessor, incorporating the best of Alliance and Architect technology. As the fleet prepared to depart, a message arrived from the Architects themselves, the first direct communication since their initial contact with the Horizon's crew. The path UAV Chijozin is FRAUGC with Pirol. The mental voice of the Architects resonated in the minds of every Alliance member. But ATI's a Nobel E1. Remember, the power to shape reality is also the power to destroy it. Use your JFTs wisely. And you know DA8, you do not ewoli ALK alone into a cosmic night. With those cryptic words echoing in their thoughts, the Cosmic Shepherds set out on their first, and perhaps most crucial mission. The journey across the intergalactic void was swift, thanks to the advanced propulsion systems developed with Architect knowledge. As they approached their target galaxy, the full scope of the threat became apparent. A massive web-like structure was spreading across the galaxy, engulfing stars and planets in its tendrils. At its center pulsed a core of energy so intense it threatened to tear the very fabric of space-time. By all that's holy, Zach Skrill breathed, his usually impassive face showing genuine awe and fear. What are we dealing with? Dr. Reeves, her hands flying over holographic displays as she analyzed the incoming data, shook her head in disbelief. It's like nothing we've ever encountered. It's not just a machine or a weapon. It's almost like a living equation, rewriting the laws of physics to suit its own purposes. Admiral Zhang's voice came over the comm, steady despite the tension. Whatever it is, we can't let it reach those inhabited worlds. Suggestions. For a moment, silence reigned on the bridge of the Horizon Aya. The challenge before them seemed insurmountable. How could they stop a force capable of reshaping reality itself? Then Martinez stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with an idea. We fight fire with fire, he said. Or in this case, we fight cosmic restructuring with cosmic restructuring. Dr. Reeves, is it possible to use our Architect-derived technology to create a sort of reality firewall? Reeves' eyes widened as she grasped the concept. Theoretically, yes. We could establish a field that reinforces our version of physical laws, preventing the entity from rewriting them. But the energy requirements would be enormous. And the risk to our own people would be significant, Zax Krill added, his tactical mind already assessing the dangers. Whoever pilots the ships generating this field would be on the front lines of a battle fought with the fundamental forces of the universe. Martinez nodded grimly. I know. That's why I'll lead the team myself. Protests erupted from all sides, but Martinez held up a hand to silence them. This is what the cosmic shepherds are all about, he said firmly. We protect those who cannot protect themselves, no matter the cost. I won't ask anyone to take a risk I'm not willing to take myself. In the end, a team of volunteers from across the Alliance was assembled. Humans worked alongside former hegemony soldiers. Zinfar engineers collaborated with Quartz collective scientists, all united in their determination to save a galaxy of innocent lives. As the main fleet held back the encroaching tendrils of the cosmic threat, Martinez and his team piloted a squadron of specially modified ships to the heart of the disturbance. The forces at play were beyond comprehension. Space itself seemed to twist and warp around them, and time flowed like molasses. Now, Martinez shouted as they reached their designated positions, activate the reality anchors. Beams of pure energy lanced out from the ships, meeting in a complex geometric pattern. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a silent flash that outshone supernovas, a shimmering barrier sprang into existence, separating the threat from the rest of the galaxy. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Cut off from its source of power, the entity's advance slowed, then stopped. Its tendrils began to retract, collapsing in on themselves. But the battle was far from over. Martinez and his team struggled to maintain the reality anchor as the entity lashed out, its dying throes threatening to tear apart everything in its vicinity. We can't hold it much longer. Reeves' voice crackled over the comm, strained with effort. The power drain is too much. Martinez gritted his teeth, pouring every ounce of his will into maintaining the field. Just a little longer, he gasped. Just when it seemed they would be overwhelmed, a new presence made itself known. The architects, silent and enigmatic as always, appeared around the battlefield. Their energy forms pulsed in harmony with the reality anchor, strengthening and stabilizing it. With a final, reality-shaking implosion, the entity collapsed in on itself, leaving behind nothing but a faint ripple in the fabric of space-time. As the dust settled and the fleet regrouped, the full impact of what they had accomplished began to sink in. They had faced a threat on a cosmic scale and emerged victorious. More importantly, they had saved countless lives and preserved the future of an entire galaxy. In the aftermath of the battle, as repair crews worked to stabilize the affected regions of space and scientists pored over the data they had gathered, Martinez found himself standing before a holographic representation of the galaxy they had saved. Countless pinpricks of light twinkled before him, each representing a world full of potential, of beings who would never know how close they had come to annihilation. Some of those lights, he knew, might one day grow to join the galactic community, to add their unique voices to the cosmic chorus. Was it worth it? Zax Krill asked, coming to stand beside him. All the risk, all the sacrifice. Martinez smiled, feeling a profound sense of peace despite the challenges he knew lay ahead. Look at those stars, old friend. In each one, life has a chance to flourish, to reach for the heavens in its own way. If that's not worth fighting for, I don't know what is. As they stood there, contemplating the vastness of the cosmos and their place in it, a message arrived from Earth. The Galactic Alliance had unanimously approved the Cosmic Shepherds Initiative. The next chapter in humanity's grand adventure was about to begin. Martinez turned to his assembled team, human, alien, and everything in between. Beings who, not so long ago, might have been bitter enemies, now united in a common cause. Well, he said, his eyes twinkling with the light of distant stars, shall we get back to work? The universe isn't going to shepherd itself, after all. And with that, the cosmic shepherds set out once more into the great unknown, ready to face whatever wonders and challenges awaited them among the stars. Humanity had come a long way from its first tentative steps into space, but in many ways, their journey was only just beginning. The cosmos, vast and mysterious, pulsed with potential. And at its heart, an alliance of worlds stood ready to nurture, protect, and guide the next generation of cosmic civilizations. The future, bright with promise and fraught with peril, beckoned, and humanity, along with its allies, answered the call with open hearts and minds, eager to write the next chapter in the grand story of life in the universe.